Hey guys, my name is Alish and I'm from Lucknow. I'm going to share my story with you. And I know for sure what I'm going to share, a lot of people sitting there and watching this video can relate to. Today I'll be sharing about my struggle watching pornography, the amount of struggle and pain and the brokenness that I've gone through. I don't want to keep it to myself. I want to bring it in front. So here we go. The first time I started watching pornography, and I was introduced to porn when I was in class 6, and that is very young age. I remember one of my friend who was my senior, he took me to a shop and he said, I would like to show you something very, very interesting. I thought it might be something really beautiful or probably something which I have never seen, and to my shock it was something which I have never seen. He took me to the shop and he asked for a play card, and I was wondering why is he asking for a play card. He took that play card and he gave it into my hand and he said, watch it. And the moment I saw the picture on that play card, it was a picture of a nude woman. She was there taking bath, and I really didn't know what to do. For an instant I thought probably this is not right, but then the reasoning behind the right and wrong was having a huge fight within, and I remember struggling to say no. I took that picture and I kept it into my pocket so that nobody would see me watching it. I took that card to my home and I started watching it in the lone time. When I started watching that picture, I was introduced to an emotion which I was never introduced to before. I was introduced to a feeling which I was never introduced to before. I started feeling good about it. That's all I know. That's all I could feel. I was feeling so much full of pleasure watching that naked picture of a lady behind that play card. But it didn't end there. By the time the days passed by, I was introduced to a different card and a card again and probably a card again. But each time I was introduced to a new card, and every time the nudity became more and more clearer. And a time came when I was actually introduced to masturbation. This friend of mine taught me what was masturbation. I had no clue. I was just in an age figuring out my own self, my body, the parts of my body. But now I was introduced to much more intense thing which probably a child should not be introduced to. I was introduced to this masturbation. Now the combination of masturbation and this pleasureful thought in my mind was taking me to a disaster. I was introduced to this nudity. I was introduced to how to work in this nudity by watching all these explicit videos and probably pictures. Now I was introduced to something called video cassettes, probably pool parties, watching the women in their half naked clothes dancing, and I was probably thinking about it, what would I do if I was there? And these thoughts, just because I was not I didn't have my hands on watching more videos or cassettes, because those days you have the parents around you, you have the elders around you, and being a child you really cannot go around asking for a porn cassette. I was viewing all that pictures in my mind. Now my brain started functioning like a projector, projecting all those films in my brain, and started viewing things and people, replacing real people with the people within the cassette, and started viewing myself with them. My brain was completely contaminated. Well, it started affecting my life, starting to affect my brain first. The way I started viewing women, it was completely changed. Before watching pornography, it was completely different. But then, since the time I started watching pornography, the way I saw women was completely different. The more I would see was not their face, was not who they were exactly. But then I started watching their body. Probably started viewing how do they look, and a little bit of skin would actually excite me. And for that, I would do anything. Even my imaginations turned upside down. Even the times when I used to not really able to see a skin, or probably not really view anything. For example, if I'm not able to view a pornography, I used to sit in my room and my brain used to function my thoughts in such a way that I could imagine me with somebody else. Probably a girl who's next door, probably a woman I saw on the road, probably a lady who I've seen in the train, bus, or anywhere. Now what had happened is the brain started functioning just to fulfill my desire. My plans, my goals, my desires were completely changed. My actions were completely different. My thoughts were completely different. Even now, when I sit here, I'm talking about this, I'm able to think about the time when I used to sit in my room and started thinking about my own teachers, that they are having a sexually explicit time with me, because my mind was started to thinking in a kind of a shell where I was just wanting to fulfill that pleasure. I would not want to concentrate in my room, in my classrooms, in my studies or anything that would excite me. I was a sportsman. I really wanted to do taekwondo, but then even now, when I started watching pornography, all my desires that would excite me were shuttled, were taken a backseat. All that I would want to do is to just get home, throw my bag, get into the room and start watching porn. If I'm not able to watch porn, at least imagine in my mind and start masturbating. That really affected the entire day of my life. All that I wanted was just to imagine and be lost in that pleasure. Even this time when I'm talking to you about this, I can imagine that damage that happened to my brain, that those times when I was just completely isolating myself from my friends, my family, my own parents, would just want to stay in my room and watch porn. The effect that pornography had on my brain was really contaminating. To an extent, it was not just about an outsider whom I was imagining in my brain, but to an extent, even when I used to go back to my hometown, I used to just crave for skin so much that I used to imagine my own cousins in my brain. And that is really devastating, really hurting. I could not even think about that. I would just wait patiently so that my cousin would walk out and probably do a house chore, and I would just wait patiently to see a little bit of skin of her. That was really scattering. What I'm trying to tell you is the damage of pornography is not just behind 5.5 screen. It's not just that. It is not just a screen and you relationship, but it damages the relationship which you're having with your own people around you. And it's really, really hurting. It's really, really damaging. That is how it affected my life. My journey in Bible college, it would be this way. I came to know the Lord in 2005. And in 2011, I went to Bible college. I had a great desire to serve the Lord. My idea was going to the Bible college. I thought this would be one of the chances that I could actually fight my battle. And I thought a Bible college would really, really help me, because it's a spiritual place. We will have spiritual people around me, and that being on an elevated spiritual place, that would really help me to get out of the addiction. But it was the other way around. I reached there. It was a new place for me. There were new faces and there were new people around me. I had a roommate and I really didn't know what to do. I was really intimidated. And these emotions of fear and anxiousness, it really needed a shelter. I creeped back into my room, opened my laptop and entered the website and started watching porn. I understood that this would have been the last time that I would be watching. But then it didn't end there. For 3 years of my Bible college, I really, really struggled watching pornography. And that fight between the flesh and the spirit, just as Paul speaks about it, it was very, very evident for me. The spirit says it is wrong, and the flesh says you need it. And between these both, I was really getting crushed. I really didn't know, and I was guilty. I was feeling bad because I'm from a Bible college and people have expectations from me that this person is going to share the gospel. I stand there in front of the chapel and I walk into the chapel. I play drums along with my worship team. People are really looking up to me that this person is so holy, so fresh and so much close to God. But deep down in me, I really knew who I was, what I was going through, and where I was actually nowhere. I was back to square one. And I was standing on the same gate that where I started. I felt that this is gonna have no end. I felt that this battle is gonna consume me. Even in Bible college, I really struggled. Every woman I saw in Bible college, it was in my mind. I was changing them with those pictures and images in my hard disk in my laptop, and I was viewing them in front of me and having sexually immoral thoughts in my brain. It was giving pathways in different directions, and even more stronger and more harder emotions were bursting in me so that I could feel more pleasure. each time I watched pornography, it was urging me to go to another level of porn. And it kept on going on and on and on. It didn't end just because I was in Bible college. When I was in Bible college doing my final year, I still remember there was a short 1 credit hour course that was introduced as an elective course. Usually we don't really give importance to the elective courses, but for my luck, I opted in for it because it was called the sexual brokenness. It was really catchy. And I thought there would be something really interesting in this course. For some reason, I went and sat for that course, and I remember there was this Irish Punjabi lecturer. It was very interesting. He's an old man standing there and teaching about sexual brokenness. This term was pretty new to me. I really didn't know what it really mean by sexual brokenness. What is a sexual brokenness? How can sexualness can be broken? I mean, how can a sexuality can be broken? There are a lot of questions in my brain running in. I wanted to know what it exactly is. He speaks on pinpoint when I reached there. He talks about pornography, a lust of eyes, how it damages one's thought. I was easily able to connect all that I was going through, probably the guilt, the struggle that I was facing to fight it. All that was making sense now. All that emotions that I had, all the struggle that I was facing, now he was able to put it in words for me, and I was introduced to each and every emotion one by one. And when he spoke everything about how addiction works, how sexual brokenness happens to an individual, what is sexual dysfunctioning, what is lust of the eye, how the spirit and the flesh has a fight, how does your guilt actually triggers you to go and watch pornography again or probably fall into a sexual sin. It was all making sense for me. Suddenly everything was such a colorfully picturing image in my mind. I was so taken back. And as the class was coming to an end, I was able to understand the need of it. And probably even more than that, I was able to understand what was happening to me. What was happening to me within my life? What was the person that I was becoming? I was completely damaged. I was completely losing my self-image, my self-esteem, my identity, and who I was. I was completely faking that I was a nice guy, I was a respecting women kind of a person. No. In the 4x4 walls of my room, I was just continuously violating all those measures, and I was damaging every woman I was thinking in my own brain. I was picturing them, I was viewing them. My mind was full of lust. The Bible says in Matthew 5 clearly, it speaks about the lust of the eye. It's not about you sleeping with a woman in the bed, but also if you think about the woman lustfully within your eyes, it is equal to that sin. And it's clearly said, Jesus asked us to completely stay afar and stay away from that sin. But it's such a struggle, and that struggle keeps on going on. That very day I understood whatever I was doing in that room alone, craving for my roommate to go out so that I can open my laptop and watch pornography, or probably have a sex chat, or probably go to those forums and have sex talks with other ladies who are probably on the other side of the world. All those pleasure was meaning nothing. It was giving me that quick fix emotion and quick fix to my pleasure, but then really didn't make any sense. It was damaging me for a longer term. I was reaching nowhere, but Jesus came through. He came through. He, even in your struggles, even in the time when you are actually facing that there is no end to it, He comes and makes a way. And that's what He did for me. He came to speak to me through this course. He came and He spoke to me through that pastor. He came and spoke to me through that class, that what I was doing to myself was only in damage. He came and spoke to me that I am not who I am in that moment. I'm supposed to be somewhere much more beautiful, somewhere much more meaningful, that He had expected me to be, that He had intended me to be. And now I made a decision that I'm going to say no to pornography, no to those pictures, no to that mind. The moment it started affecting my mind, I used to run off out of my room. At the moment I felt that I'm going to fall, I used to shut my laptop and go to my friend's room. It helped, because the moment I understood what is my Jesus' heart, I was able to understand what is the condition of my heart. And that's how I got the freedom from pornography. The story now, how would I say, is it's completely different, but at the same time it's really hard. I'm 31 now, and I'm married to a beautiful wife. But the struggle of this pornography and excessive masturbation had left a huge impact on my brain and my thoughts, and even to my sexual activeness. It was really hard for me to explain my wife what I was going through. I mean, I would never want my wife to even know that I was a huge addict and I'm relapsing to a situation or a place where I'm probably falling into a space where I'm really willing to watch something else. But that struggle in my brain was so strong. The struggle in that emotion was so strong that I really did not want to fall into it again. But that's where God helped me. He strengthened me. I was reminded of that strength again. And I wanted to be faithful to my wife. I wanted to be faithful towards my relationship. I wanted to be faithful to me and God. I took the step. I explained her that I was going through this struggle. And you won't believe me, God was there in that moment when I was telling about my struggle to her. But that doesn't mean that this battle ends right there. No, I can boldly tell you that this battle doesn't end right in a wink of an eye. No, it doesn't happen. We made the decision to walk into this battle, and this battle will be there till the time we die. But what God does is, He helps us to fight that battle each day by building up strategies, by building up decisions, a strong convictions in our own mind and heart, crossing our hearts and saying that no, I will not do it. You know, guys, it is very important to understand. It'll be wrong for you to think that the moment you are going to talk to somebody or probably going to say about your struggles to somebody, the very next day you'll be out of it. No. I want to tell you that this struggle is going to be there forever. But that is not what makes you weaker. No. The best part is the winner of that battle is right with us. He's there. And He's even now. All He is expecting us is to have a strong willingness to accept Him and walk with Him and say that, yes, Jesus, I struggle with this weakness and I am ready to fight along with you. Be my helper. Be the fighter along with me, Jesus, so that I can fight this battle. I can fight this struggle within myself. And that helped me. That really helped me to even now walk with my wife and say that I'm a fighter. Say that I'm a struggler. But that doesn't put me into shame. That makes me stand proud saying that yes, there are a lot of people still struggling with it. I'm not alone. And it will help me in my future days to be completely healed emotionally, physically, to have that intimacy with my wife and have a clear, pure relationship with my wife and my relatives. Yes, there is a day, and that I have taken that path. I've started walking on the path of healing that God has put for me. I think the most important thing to do in order to come out of that pornography or to experience freedom is to talk about it. Trust me, until you talk about it, you will not experience freedom. The moment you talk about it, you are actually letting that guilt and the pain and the struggle out from your heart and putting it on the table in front of other person. Speak it until unless it is felt important, that it is felt that it is needed, the freedom cannot come. The freedom will come only one gets to speak about it and talk about it. I'm talking about this not because I want to look good in front of other people, no. Or probably I want to gain some sympathy, no. I'm here talking about this is because I've experienced that freedom. And I want to see the same freedom in all the people around this world. I want to see that freedom happening in each and every person's life. That freedom to speak about your shame, the freedom to speak about your weaknesses, the freedom to speak about your struggles will let you into the real freedom. the freedom of joy, freedom of experiencing real relationships, freedom of experiencing real friendship, freedom of experiencing what is true, not fake, freedom of experiencing who Jesus is. And that is what freedom is. You want to have freedom? Start talking to your person. Have an accountability partner. Trust, if you trust somebody, if it can be your parent, it can be your friend, it can be your teacher, it can be your pastor, anybody. Get hold of them. Talk to them, pray about it, and talk to them. Make sure that person can keep it confidential and pray along with you, have a check on you on a constant basis, and always ask you if you fell, if you didn't fall, These kind of accountabilities really help to build that courage and strength to fight against the force. This is the time, guys. Go ahead and find somebody who can help you. Go and find an accountability partner, pray about it, and the moment you start talking, you will start experiencing freedom in bits and pieces. And one day that jigsaw puzzle is going to come together, and you will see the big picture of your own life, how God brought it through. Thank you.